right, there we go.
Okay, good. Okay, Mr. McGill, can you hear us?
I hear you.
Okay, great. Well, a couple questions. Again, I looked at a couple of your TEDx, the one TEDx Rapid City, and the one in Charleston. And one thing was interesting that you talked about is that 12 of our U.S. presidents were actually slave owners, and eight of the 12 were slave owners while in office. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can tell you a lot, but I can tell you a little also. Yeah. So one thing that I learned since I've been doing this is that hold on, I got to turn this volume down because I'm getting that feedback. Okay, so the question is, TED Talk. I've done two TED Talks in my time. That's TED, TEDx actually, TEDx talks in my time. And the one that you referred to in South Dakota, yes, that's where I was. Yeah, in that I talked about we there were in our history of presidents, 12 of our former presidents enslaved people. 25 signers of the Constitution. I'm sorry, 41 signers of the Declaration of Independence enslaved people. 25 signers of the Constitution enslaved people. And those are things that coming up through the educational system, South Carolina, in South Carolina, even going to South Carolina State University, um, I was not made aware of those things in any of the history that I was taught, any of the history that was taught to me. It was that history that was in that place of comfort. It was that history that, when you left that class or those classes, you left there thinking the United States is the best ever, and I think we are. But I think in celebrating all the greatness that we are, we got to also account for the atrocities. And in accounting for these atrocities, we gotta accept the fact that 12 of our former presidents enslaved people. And then when folks try to count the 12, they always miss Ulysses S. Grant. Yeah, he's in that number of 12. Now, he came about it through marriage, and he set this person free shortly after a time that he gained possession of this person, but he's still in that category of 12. So it's a little hard for some to accept that fact. I've almost gotten into fist fights just expressing that to crowds of people. There are those in the crowd who will challenge all that because they were taught that these men were superior, godlike, and they should be exalted as such. And when we add their character flaws to their story, sometimes we get a lot of pushback. And, we expect a lot of pushback because that's why the Slave Dwelling Project exists. We exist because our enslaved ancestors were being disrespected, not only when they were here on this earth, but beyond in the history that they tend to disseminate to everyone who consumes this history. They want to make our history palatable. And 12 former presidents who were slave owners does not make it that. So we want to make sure that we talk about these 12 men. We want to make sure that when we talk about the state of Virginia, we want to make folks know that the state of Virginia gave us more slave owning presidents than any other state.